Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Yes, we know here in Eastern Standard Time, it is nearly midnight. We set out to come live to you at 8:30 this evening, and we have had no end of technical difficulties, but that doesn't matter because we are here now, and Leah has decided that she would like to bring you the latest. Are you guys ready for this? Because I don't think you're ready for it. You're not ready for what the bomb, the big kahooey that you're about to bring to these people. Today
this is a
October,
giant Hollywood expose that I have been wanting to bring to you guys. Put on your
seatbelts,
your pants,
maybe earmuffs, I don't know, masks. You might not even want to be watching this, but you know you do. It's October 11th. By the time this is over, it'll be October 12th. We're going to go over into midnight, I know for sure. But we're so glad to have you on such an interesting topic. Lee and I were on a dog walk today, and I get an hour of the most awful, horrific, disgusting, vile things I have heard in a long time. And I say, you're going to give that to our viewers? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, great. Okay, let's do it. Let's give it to them.
It's not about giving anything to anyone. It's about exposing these pedophiles, exposing the sexual predators. We're a little loud out there on the porch. Can hear ourselves in an echo room. All right, so how many of you have been following this Harvey Weinstein thing? Unfortunately, for the past few days. I'm going to let Tucker Carlson start us off here. I thought I was, yeah. For a second, for calling out Hillary Clinton. And we are going to dissect Weinstein, Polanski, Sigmund Freud, Woody Allen, and their disgusting perversions that they've been putting on us through their movies. It's not just about the individuals who were affected. There were many, many, many women who have been affected. People who have been abused by this man. Yeah. Men included. One actor was shoved up against the wall with Weinstein took his hands on his throat and shoved him up against the wall and says, we don't even need you here. I'm in charge. So because sexual perversion is a violent act. And so it goes hand in hand with actually committing violent acts. You feel very powerful and you feel like you can put that power to use. I have seen this ugly man's face before, but I did not know the name. I've heard of Steven Spielberg. I know Jerry Bruckheimer, whatever, but I didn't know this guy. I didn't know he was Hollywood. That Meryl Streep had called him a god. That everywhere I look now, he's with every Democrat. He gave money to Bill Clinton's sex abuse scandal slush fund. He is there. He is behind the scenes for every sexual perversion. He was there to promote the Polanski guy who raped a girl at 13 and fled the country. He was there for Woody Allen. Woody Allen is a disgusting pervert who needs to be behind bars, and we're going to break down some of his things. Let's start out with our favorite woman who's not president here, Hillary Clinton, who is friends with Weinstein. And Tucker rightfully calls her out here.
Not all accusations of sexual harassment are real. This one is. But the bigger scandal is the reaction to it, or the lack of reaction. Harvey Weinstein isn't just a movie producer, he's a political figure on the left, a major donor to the Democratic Party, a personal friend to countless liberal activists and politicians. All of which helps explain why the reaction from self-described defenders of women has been so muted. For the days after the story broke, Democrats in Hollywood and Washington seemed to freeze, unsure of what to say, hoping the whole thing would just die down and go away. It hasn't. Those actors who lecture you from the Oscar podium every year about their virtue and your lack of it, suddenly silent. Hillary Clinton traveling on a book tour whose whole purpose is to call out sexism in American society. She said not a single word about her old friend Harvey Weinstein for 5 full days. The truth is, Weinstein could never have gotten away with any of this without enablers like Hillary Clinton and the rest of the so-called creative community in Hollywood. They knew about his behavior. It was common knowledge in that world. The New York Times came close to running a story about Weinstein's harassment more than a decade ago, but pulled back at the last minute under political pressure, which tells you a lot. None of this was a well-kept secret. It now seems clear that hundreds of people knew or suspected.
Okay, so that was just a little clip. You can watch his whole clip, which I have watched, and he is able to kind of give you guys the rundown in about 5 minutes, and I'm going to give you probably in about an hour. But I'm going to give you everything that I know that really kind of shows us just how bad Hollywood really is and how bad it has been, and why our country is a mess is because these guys. Now, I do need to make a disclaimer, because I fully believe that MGM was behind the dropping of this story so that we would not be talking about Las Vegas.
Right.
Okay, so we are going to have to hammer Las Vegas. We are still digging. There's crazy new things on that timeline. Okay, everything is tying together because this is a story that they have been sitting on until they needed to throw somebody under the bus, until they needed a patsy. But at the same time, these things do need to be brought to the forefront. So we're going to ride their wave that they made, okay, to hopefully bring them down. Now, interestingly enough, the New York Times came out with a story, but Mia Farrow's son has been following, and he had the same story that NBC spiked because of pressure. So it's two different stories coming out right now.
He had been the author.
He was the author of a different story. New York Times came out with another story. But I'm saying that they've been spiking this story until the time was right.
Yep.
Everybody's involved. Ben Affleck, George Clooney, everybody in Hollywood is involved. Gwyneth Paltrow and Angelina Jolie were the recent ones to come out to say that they too were sexually harassed. Now, what did Weinstein do? The major theme was that this guy was such a sexual pervert, okay? He would pull a Bill Clinton. He didn't actually ask these women to have sex with him. Some of them he did. He has 3 rape accusers. But most of the time, the women say he would show up in a bathrobe, every single woman, same story, and say, please give me a massage and do these separate things on me. There was a reporter who said that he pushed her against the wall and like masturbated. And I know this is what these people do. This is the Hollywood thing.
And it's a giant cover up, and that's what has me up in arms. Here's the thing, guys. I know most of you are not going to want to give up watching movies or your entertainment, but every single Hollywood actor is complicit because every single one of them knows that it's going on. George Clooney came out and he was like, oh, I didn't even know that this stuff was going on. Well, here's the thing.
That's not what he said. He said, I knew about
some of it, but I didn't know how deep it went.
Of course, big, powerful men are always getting young women to sleep with them. But I didn't know this was going on.
But that was a bold-faced lie because he is best friends with Brad Pitt. And when we go back to what happened with Gwyneth Paltrow, she was dating Brad Pitt at the time that Weinstein approached her. And she told Brad Pitt, and then Brad Pitt confronts Weinstein. So you're telling me that Brad Pitt never told George Clooney that happened? Come on. He knew, so he was lying just to cover up his hind end. Every single one of these Hollywood actors that are now coming out throwing Weinstein under the bus and saying, decrying his actions, they all knew, and they're all part of it.
The same thing with Ben Affleck. Everybody came out and said he grabbed this actress woman right here. I don't know what she's in, some sort of TRL MTV thing, and grabbed her. He did say, I acted inappropriately, and he apologizes.
Yeah,
he groped her. But before that, he said he was saddened and angry over allegations that Hollywood Mongol Harvey had raped and sexually harassed women. But then another actress named McGowan, Rose McGowan, says, gosh darn it, she didn't say that, I told him, Ben Affleck, you said this. gosh darn it, I told him to stop doing that. You said that to my face. The press conference I was made to go through after the assault, you lie.
Wow.
So she says that she told Ben Affleck what happened, and Ben Affleck said, I told him to stop doing that.
Meaning you didn't report it to anybody.
Ben Affleck's very best friend is who? Matt Damon.
Right.
Matt Damon and Russell Crowe were two of the guys in 2004 who got the New York Times.
Sorry, there we are.
Who got the New York Times to shelve the story then.
Right.
These guys all know. Matt Damon says, if I had known, I would have put a stop to it. It didn't happen under my nose. It's the same thing with Woody Allen. You may not have seen him do it, but you know that he did it.
Right.
Okay? So this is Rose McGowan, and the poor girl, dude, she's got to grow her hair. She was pretty. She cut her hair off. She's bald. It's just bad. And McGowan also called out Affleck's brother, Casey Affleck, who has been accused of sexual assault himself, on Twitter Monday morning, saying, Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, how's your morning, boys? Casey Affleck recently faced intense public scrutiny for a past civil sexual harassment lawsuit, and he made headlines earlier this year after reports surfaced that two women had filed lawsuits against him for sexual assault on the set of a 2009 film, I Am Still Here. Casey Affleck addressed the allegations in 2017, says, I believe that any kind of mistreatment of anyone for any reason, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so when it comes to Weinstein, he admits to what he has done. Okay, the man has been fired by his own company. He is sick and he is demented. He says, I need therapy. I realize that I have some problems.
Yeah.
And he hired a lawyer to help him. And he says, she's going to put together a great team of professionals to help me with my demons.
No, your lawyer's going to put together a team of professionals to help you not go to jail.
She dropped him. Because it was so bad.
Good.
So bad she dropped him. Now he's pulled a Polanski, this Roman Polanski guy raped a 13-year-old. Everybody knows it. He was convicted, but in a plea deal was only given 42 days. The judge reneged on the 42 days, met Jesus or something, said this is probably stupid, and that's when Roman Polanski fled to France, and he's been making movies. He won an Oscar for The Pianist, and everybody gave him a standing ovation, and then somebody wrote a letter, because the U.S. has been trying to extradite him back to make him serve his sentence, and somebody wrote this wonderful letter about Polanski and that he has served his time. You know, if he did do some things wrong, or if he did anything wrong, he served his time. Roman Polanski for the rape of a 13-year-old. Actually, there was another one or two that came out and said he did the same thing to them. But this letter was written, an op-ed, I believe, in the New York Times, and a petition went around, and 100 actors signed it, including Harrison Ford and Woody Allen.
Of course.
The letter and the petition were started by none other than Harvey Weinstein.
Oh.
To get Roman Polanski back here. Because they don't have a problem with raping 13-year-olds. They don't have a problem with sexually molesting people. In fact, in Harvey Weinstein's initial letter apologizing, he says, I'm sorry, I was operating under the old Hollywood mentality, and, we need to move on to the new Hollywood mentality. So what does that even mean?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
No, because we were talking about this earlier, and he has to be referring to that really awful blank period in Hollywood during the 60s and 70s where everything was horrible. I don't care if you liked something. It was all bad. It was all raunchy. It was all weird. Because old Hollywood in like the 40s and 50s, it was bad. They always have had perversion in Hollywood, but it wasn't that bad. Right. When he was saying, oh, it's not like old Hollywood where you could get away with this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, so that's your excuse. That somehow in the 60s and 70s, you could get away with it, and now you can't. So that makes it okay, because what he's saying is, in his mind, it's okay to do it from a moral standpoint, but it's not socially acceptable.
Okay, so, straight up, I want to let you know that...
Straight up now, tell me, do you really want Hollywood to be disgusting? No, no, no.
This whole Weinstein story drop is to cover up Las Vegas. Remember, the Mandalay Bay is owned by MGM. Okay, they're losing money. Their stocks have plummeted. In fact, it was known that they had dumped some stocks before this, but we got to cover that another time. My point is that we still have to cover Las Vegas. Keep sending us your links. We have to hammer it. There's a whole new timeline coming out again today with the security guard and the maintenance guy. It's just insane.
I think I can make an official promise. We will go live tomorrow with all of the other news and new Las Vegas things. But tonight, we want to bring you this, and it ties in, like Leah just said, in case you missed it, with the fact that they have thrown this whole Harvey Weinstein thing out there to distract from the Las Vegas thing, but it is all tied together. So we are going to go ahead. What did you say on the last stream? You said we're just going to do it. We're going to play into their hands.
We're going to ride their wave and use this against them, because not only is Harvey Weinstein being called out, Ben Affleck's being called out. It's a whole big thing. Jimmy Kimmel's being called out for his perversions, stuff that you don't even know that he has done.
Guys, come on. I want you to follow along because I'm really excited about this episode. We were on a dog walk this afternoon and Leah gives me this hour-long spiel. And I was like, are you going to actually tell all of that to our viewers? Because it's vile, it's disgusting, and it's a little bit much even for me. And she's like, oh yeah, we're bringing it for the viewers. Because Hollywood, the entire system is a cesspool.
Right.
Every single one of them, they're all complicit. Like we just went over and we're going to redo it again. But like when Gwyneth Paltrow complained at the beginning, oh, look, Weinstein did this, she actually never followed through.
Right.
And here's what happens. It's kind of biblical. If somebody does something to you and you don't cry out, you don't make it known, then you really are at fault for the next person that it happens to. And so every single one of these girls who even settled, right? If you're going to settle for an amount of money rather than seeing him prosecuted.
However, this is an audio here. This woman went to the cops, said she was a model. She's a French model, and she was groped. And she went to the New York Police Department, and they buried it. But not before they sent her back
with a wire.
With a wire. But then there wasn't enough proof at that point, okay? So I think we're going to start this episode so you guys get an idea of who Harvey Weinstein is, what he has been doing to all of these women. And
this episode, can I just say right now, if you have children in the room, you're not allowed to watch the episode.
Right. Please don't. No.
What do we have to do here?
Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink.
I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Come into my room.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Froze.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you.
I
That
don't
embarrassing.
I'm sorry. I can't. No, yesterday was kind of aggressive for me. I need to know a person to
I
be
won't
touched.
do a thing.
I won't.
Do a thing, please. I swear I won't. Just stick with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time. Sit with me.
But
I
I don't want
promise.
to.
Please sit there.
How is it an embarrassment if she leaves?
Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go
to.
to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go downstairs.
I'm not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this.
His MO, every woman says he would make them go into the bathroom with them. With him.
Creepy.
I know.
That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel.
I'm not embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
Honey, don't have a thing with me in the home. Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear on my children. Please come in.
I swear on my children.
I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very
Famous guy.
I'm a famous guy.
comfortable right
Please
now.
come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my
Why
jacket, you can
yesterday
go.
you touched my wrist?
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that. Come on.
You used
I'm used to that.
Yeah, I'm used to touching people.
to that?
Yes, come in.
No, but I'm not used to
I
that.
won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute.
It's so
No, I don't want
If
to.
you do this now, you will America. But no. Never call me again. Okay? I'm sorry. I promise you I won't do anything.
I know, but yesterday was too
The
much
guy's
for me.
coming. I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
I know, but it's kind of like, it's too much for me. I can't.
Please, you're making a big scene here.
No,
Please.
but I want to leave.
Okay, bye.
You're making
Okay.
a big scene here.
So last Thursday, the New York Times ran a story, and I believe they ran this story to get us off of talking about Las Vegas, okay?
Listen,
however,
we all knew that the American public, unfortunately, and I'm not going to include our viewers in this, but most, even of the Truth Channel people, the attention span is like, we have to move on to the next thing. And so they waited, they let the truthers have their, 4 or 5 days of the Las Vegas thing, and then they threw them another bone.
Right.
And then they chase it like a dog.
Right.
And so that's what they've done. We're doing this because it has to be exposed. Tomorrow we're going back to Las Vegas. We're not letting go of that bone.
But I've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. There's so much. Roman Polanski, he was a producer in the 60s and 70s who raped a 13-year-old girl and was convicted. The judge only gave him 42 days.
Now, what was it exactly that he said to her?
Which?
The 13-year-old girl. She was like a model.
She was a Vogue model.
A Vogue model at the time, and he pretty much told her, your career is on the line if you don't sleep with me.
He said, if you're a big enough girl to do these shoots, you're a big enough girl to sleep with me. And other girls have come out, teenagers, since then. Now, Roman Polanski ties into this whole thing because Weinstein came to his aid. We're going to follow this whole thing, and we're going to cover Woody Allen, too, because Woody Allen's son, he was on this story, too.
He wrote a story about it.
Yeah, no, has been covering it too, and it's actually heartbreaking because I believe the reason he went down this road is because his sister, in 2014 came out with a letter, and he didn't want it published because he didn't want his work to be associated with his family. He wanted to stand on his own. And after he read the letter and he realized, oh my gosh, he knows that this happened to her. He knows that his father raped.
Woody Allen raped his adopted daughter when she was 7 years old.
Yeah, but she was a baby when they adopted her. So, like, it was family.
Right. I'm just saying.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
So, anyways, the main story is the Harvey Weinstein, the first story that came out, had paid off 8 women for sexual advances and things like that. Then Gwyneth Paltrow came out, Angelina Jolie came out, other women came out afterwards.
Right.
All of Hollywood. Meryl Streep says, well, not everyone knew. I didn't know. Glenn Close said, I heard rumors. Okay, everyone knew. They've been joking about it for years.
Right.
Okay. Ashley Judd says that he invited her to his Peninsula Beverly Hills hotel for what the young actress expected to be a business breakfast meeting. Instead, he had her sent up to his room where he appeared in a bathrobe and asked if he could give her a massage or she could watch him shower. This was the big thing. That's his fetish. He had a fetish, the shower and the bathroom. Yes. In 2014, Mr. Weinstein invited Emily Nestor, who had worked just one day as a temporary employee at the same hotel, and made another offer. If she accepted his sexual advances, he would boost her career. And we just heard the audio. This is the same M.O. I'm a powerful man. I can make you. I can break you.
Exactly.
All right? Gwyneth Paltrow was 22 when she had just landed the big break with Emma.
Right.
He did the same thing to her. And she's come out and said that he did this. Now, she told her then boyfriend, Brad Pitt, who then confronted Weinstein and said, don't you do this. Well, then Weinstein then punishes Gwyneth Paltrow and screams at her and says, don't you ever tell anybody else again. But what does she do? She wanted to be an actress so badly.
Right.
There are victims here, but then there are people who choose to accept being abused because they want something that the abuser has to give them.
Right.
And she wanted fame that badly.
Right. And she wasn't the same as the 13-year-old. She was an adult.
22 years old. Exactly. And she won an Oscar for Shakespeare in Love, standing right next to Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein had her go on the Letterman show. And then when they joked about Weinstein coercing her and she kind of giggled and laughed about being coerced, These women are also complicit in allowing this to go on, because if you know that somebody is a serial predator and a sexual abuser and you don't go to the cops, the only one that I know of out of all of this is the French girl who went to the cops. And then the chief of police or whoever investigates these things, he buried the story, and Weinstein gave $10,000 to his campaign. You can see all these things come together. Weinstein was part of a $2.2 million war chest to defend Bill Clinton against his.
And who else was a contributing donator to that cause, Leah?
I'm trying to remember.
I think you said Harrison Ford.
Well, that was different. That was Polanski's people who signed a petition to get Polanski not to be extradited.
But there were other donors. There were a lot of donors that you named.
There was a lot of donors. Yeah, there was a lot of donors to that.
A lot of Hollywood donors, that donated for Bill Clinton, and Weinstein was the spearhead, the figurehead of getting that accomplished, getting those donations. How much money was raised?
$2.2 million.
By the Hollywood elitists, because they're okay with the kind of sexual activity that Bill Clinton was engaged in, and what Weinstein and Woody Allen and Polanski, they're all okay with it. And so I think this is actually going to stream together as one long stream.
Really?
The way that it's looking when saves, when the video saves, which is okay. That's totally fine. But I said this earlier. If you guys are still watching Hollywood movies, and I'm not saying that Leah and I are even going to give it up altogether, but here's the thing. Every single actor and actress in Hollywood is complicit, because they all know what's going on. Just because you like somebody's character or the kind of character that they play, Harrison Ford or whatever, they're all creeps. Every last one. There is no good one here in Hollywood. They're all disgusting.
Okay, so Tom Hanks, Barbara Streisand, Michael Douglas, Ron Howard, Steven Spielberg all gave a maximum of $10,000 to Bill Clinton's war chest. And Weinstein says, I appreciate the way I've behaved with colleagues in the past has caused a lot of pain. I sincerely apologize for it, though I'm trying to do better. I know I have a long way to go. That is what he said recently on his, before, or as the New York Times was coming out with this story, he knew. I'm going to go ahead and reiterate the fact that he hired a lawyer who he said was going to put together a team of therapists, and he was going to get therapy for this, right? And he was going to, what he said he was going to do is he was going to take his anger and go after the NRA and Donald Trump. And he was going to funnel his anger.
No.
Whatever.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? You need to be put behind bars. That's what needs to happen to you.
Exactly.
You don't get to participate in society anymore.
Right. So this woman here says it's hard to say no to Weinstein because of his power. And these are actresses, you might know their face of. Her name is Léa Seydoux, a French actress who starred in a 2013 film, Blue is the Warmest Color. She said it was difficult to say no to Weinstein because of his power. Many people knew about the Hollywood Mongol for many years. Seydoux wrote in The Guardian Wednesday, adding, "That's the most disgusting thing. Everyone knew what Harvey was up to, and no one did anything. It's unbelievable that he's been able to act like this for decades and still keep his career. That's only possible because he has a huge amount of power." She said, he said to her, you'd be better off if you lost weight. She said that all the girls were scared of him. She tried to defend herself, but he's so big and fat. So I had to be forceful and to resist him. Here is the New Yorker story. Now, the New Yorker story is different than the New York Times story. The New Yorker story is actually Roman Farrow, who is Mia Farrow's son, who I think I need to reiterate this. Many of you know that Woody Allen has been accused of molesting his daughter.
I think it's true. It has to be true.
The adopted daughter of Mia Farrow from Korea. He married her. It's really twisted.
It's like a stepdaughter.
And we're going to get into that. However, Ronan didn't want his sister to come out and rehash this. But in 2014, she wrote an open letter. And why am I bringing this out? Because Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, and Weinstein are all intertwined, and they're connected to the Clintons.
Right.
the oldest daughter of the Obamas got a Weinstein internship.
So
Go
it's
ahead.
Weinstein. I heard
Go
Tucker
ahead.
say that
Weinstein,
earlier, but I'd rather say
Weinstein.
Weinstein. But if we
Yeah.
have to say Steen, we can say Steen.
Whatever.
Whatever. But thank you for that.
Ronan actually had a 10-month investigation, and he's the one who came up with the audio, and he had women on, and he was really investigating this, and I think this was a way for him to kind of exercise the demons of what happened to his sister,
Right.
and the power that his dad holds in Hollywood. So if he could investigate this, then he could help redeem his sister and what happened to her. And I find it incredibly
It's kind of like
moving.
if your sibling gets a brain tumor or something, then you want
Right.
to become a
Wait a
brain
minute,
surgeon.
I went to YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube has a pronunciation.
It's Weinstein.
No, it's Stein.
It is. Is it Stein?
Yeah, Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Carnegie has a video on how to pronounce things.
Fantastic.
Weinstein. Okay.
Weinstein.
All right. So I want to read you part of his article because what happened was the NBC, he actually was investigating this for NBC, but NBC buried it, shelved it, wouldn't let him bring it through. He finally was released to bring it to the New Yorker. From what I understand, only after the New York Times came out with his. This was October 10th. He was only allowed to come out with his story after the New York Times story, which is so sad. Many reporters have come out with stories. They've all been buried. So I want to read part of his. Since the establishment of the first studios a century ago, there have been few movie executives as dominant or as domineering as Harvey Weinstein. As the co-founder of the production and distribution companies Miramax and Weinstein Company, he helped to reinvent the model for independent films with movies such as Sex, Lies, and Videotape, The English Patient, Pulp Fiction, The Crying Game, Shakespeare in Love, The King's Speech. Beyond Hollywood, he has exercised his influence as a prolific fundraiser for Democratic Party candidates. This is why this is so important, including Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Now, Barack Obama's daughter.
I told him that before.
Oh, you did?
Had
Okay.
the
I missed that
internship,
part.
yeah. Weinstein combined a keen eye for promising scripts, directors, and actors with a bullying, even threatening style of doing business, inspiring both fear and gratitude.
That's what an abuser does.
And Meryl Streep called him God. A god. His movies have earned more than 300 Oscar nominations, and at the annual award ceremonies, he has been thanked more than God. More than God. Just after Spielberg and right before God. For more than 20 years, Weinstein has also been trailed by rumors of sexual harassment and assault. This has been an open secret to many in Hollywood and beyond, but previous attempts by many publications, including the New Yorker, to investigate and publish the story over the years fell short of the demands of journalistic evidence. Too few people were willing to speak. And then he was able to get some people out. Asia Argento, an Italian film actress and director, told me that she did not speak out until now. Weinstein, she told me, forcibly performed an act on her because she feared that Weinstein would crush her. I know he's crushed a lot of people before, Argento said, but that's why this story, in my case, it's 20 years old, some of them are older, has never come out.
Wow.
And you can probably read the rest of this story. He's caught on tape. He has 3 rape accusers at this point. He's paid off 8, and before the story ran in the New York Times, he came out with a letter saying, yes, I have made mistakes, things I've done I'm sorry for, I've behaved badly. He said, I was operating under old Hollywood mindset. Like
that makes it okay.
And then he wrote a despicable letter to his CEOs. And I'm not sure if I have that one up, but this despicable letter, I do. He's saying, please keep me on. I will go to therapy.
Let's go back to that audio. No, just mentally go back to his. Can you please sit there and watch me shower while he does whatever he needed her there in the shower to do what he needed to do. But here's the thing: take that whiny voice of please, and put that here. He's like please. It's disgusting.
My board is thinking of firing me. All I'm asking is let me take a leave of absence. whether it be and to get into heavy therapy and counseling, whether it be in a facility or somewhere else. Allow me to resurrect myself with a second chance.
No.
He writes this to his board. He says, I really need your support or just your honesty if you can't support me. But if you can, I need you to send a letter to my private Gmail address. The letter would only go to the board and no one else. We believe what the board is trying to do is not only wrong, but might be illegal and would destroy the company. If you could write this letter backing me, getting me the help and time that I need, and also stating your opposition to the board firing me, it would help a lot. I am desperate for your help. Just give me some time and have therapy. Do not let me be fired.
Fired. Not only fired, but jailed. You need to be in jail.
Yeah, so a lot of the guys were like, no. And I'm glad for it. There is a list here.
To the comments, we're going to get to Las Vegas tomorrow, but Eminem we will cover tonight.
A little bit, because it does tie in, Eminem in the Hollywood. I wanted to, I think this might have frozen up, my link here. I brought up a lot of links.
Ashley's here. She's a night owl. Catch Ashley in the nighttime.
So one of the actresses who came out heavily against him is Rose McGowan. Now, Rose McGowan has been making waves on Twitter.
Good for her.
And Ben Affleck, a lot of Hollywood was quiet. So Ben Affleck came out and saying this saddened me and disgusted me. Mm-hmm. But then Rose McGowan tweeted out, You're a liar. I told you. You knew this was happening.
And Ben Affleck had said to her at one point, I told him to stop that. The Weinstein thing.
So Ben Affleck knew.
Right.
He knew. So, everyone knew. Brad Pitt knew because Gwyneth Paltrow was dating Brad Pitt at the time, and she told Brad Pitt.
Hasn't everybody dated Brad Pitt?
Exactly. Brad Pitt is best friends with George Clooney, and George Clooney says that he didn't know, but of course he had to know. Matt Damon and Russell Crowe wrote the New York Times asking them to shelve a story, I believe in 2004, coming out against him because Weinstein had asked his friends to put in good words for him because he heard the story was coming out.
I don't care how much you like these people. Matt Damon seems like an upstanding guy. He married outside of Hollywood. Rah, 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 yay for him. They're all despicable. Every last one of them.
So the story goes, he would ask you in, go into his suite, go into his room for a massage. This is Gwyneth Paltrow. She's 22. Rose McGowan, she reached a settlement of $100,000. Ashley Judd said the same thing that happened to her. Rosanna Arquette said it happened to her in the early 90s. She said that, I'm not that kind of girl. Heather Graham in Variety on Tuesday said that Mr. Weinstein told her in a meeting in the early 2000s that he and his wife had an arrangement that he could sleep with other women when he was out of town. She said she walked out of the meeting feeling uneasy. Louisa Geis, in a news conference on Tuesday, a former actress and screenwriter, recounted a 2008 encounter with Mr. Weinstein that aligned with the accounts offered by other women during what was intended to be a professional meeting. His whole thing was getting people to watch him, do things with him. So he cornered a reporter while he did things. It goes on and on and on. And there's in the New York Times, these are the women who have come out on record, and you can read their stories, and it is woman after woman after woman after woman.
So now, we're going to cover Weinstein, however you want to say it. But I know that you have some video footage to mix things up. Do you have any other footage you want to bring up?
When we go, I have some footage with Woody Allen that I really want to show you when we get to the Woody Allen segment. This is particularly interesting because Weinstein says that he admires Bill Clinton.
President, thank you for being my guest tonight. I can't thank you enough for doing this. It's incredible. And as I said, I always learn amazing things from you. Hopefully they'll let us do this again, and we're just going to talk about movies the next time.
So he has always learned new things from Bill Clinton. We gave the audio. Did we play the Tucker for people?
Well, I think it's going to be tied into this.
We'll play.
Not all accusations of sexual harassment are real.
Bigger?
This one is.
No. All right,
but the
that's fine.
bigger scandal is the reaction to it, or the lack of reaction. Harvey Weinstein isn't just a movie producer, he's a political figure on the left, a major donor to the Democratic Party, a personal friend to countless liberal activists and politicians. All of which helps explain why the reaction from self-described defenders of women has been so muted.
She's leaving him, by the way.
The story broke, Democrats in Hollywood and Washington seemed to freeze, unsure of what to say, hoping the whole thing would just die down and go away. It hasn't. Those actors who lecture you from the Oscar podium every year about their virtue and your lack of it, suddenly silent. Hillary Clinton traveling on a book tour whose whole purpose is to call out sexism in American society. She said not a single word about her old friend Harvey Weinstein for 5 full days. The truth is, Weinstein could never have gotten away with any of this without enablers like Hillary Clinton and the rest of the so-called creative community in Hollywood.
All of Hollywood.
They knew about his behavior. It was common knowledge in that world. The New York Times came close to running a story about Weinstein's harassment more than a decade ago, but pulled back at the last minute under political pressure, which tells you a lot. None of this was a well-kept secret. It now seems clear that hundreds of people knew or...
Everybody knew. I've been saying that.
In Hollywood, these things don't just get swept under the rug. It's not one of those things.
Right.
If everybody's working with the guy, everybody knows.
Right. Exactly. That was the everybody knew. This is the author of The New Yorker, which I showed you. This is Ronan Allen, Mia Farrow's son and Woody Allen's son.
Woody Allen.
Some people say that he's actually Frank Sinatra's son. He looks nothing like Woody Allen to me. He does look like Mia Farrow. Now, let me just say that between Roman Polanski and Weinstein and Woody Allen, these guys are so ugly. Woody Allen, I was telling this to Michelle, is quite possibly one of the... And I mean,
how do these people get away with it in Hollywood?
The ugliest people. Wigs. Right.
I'm sorry.
I'm just going to give you a
They have to be doing something else. We think it's satanic. We were talking about it today on the dog walk. It has to be the devil. Because,
he is one of the ugliest people. I'm sorry. And I don't ever do this, okay? But because he's ugly on the inside, I can say... This is one of the ugliest people on the face of the planet. But he gained power. I mean, look at his face! It is so disgusting. I'm sorry. It's awful. And to know what he has done to people.
Right.
And he got all these beautiful actresses. And
he has the look of the child molester.
He does look like it because he is one.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what you're saying is not only... We always say this here at Resistance Chicks. It's not about being beautiful or ugly on the outside. What you are on the inside will be portrayed on the outside. We never call out people's looks, but in this case, I agree with Leah. Definitely needs to be called out.
So, what I really need to tie all these things together, because when you see Weinstein's name on a petition for, Weinstein put together a petition to make sure that Roman Polanski was not extradited back into the United States because... Roman Polanski raped a 13-year-old, and then a judge said 42 days is not enough. And so Roman Polanski fled the country, and he went to France. Okay? Well, the U.S. tried to extradite him, and Weinstein wrote a big op-ed saying, you know what, he has done his time, and he had everybody in Hollywood sign it. 100 people signed this thing. And Roman Polanski got an Oscar for The Pianist. He got a standing ovation, and Meryl Streep stood up and said, oh, I love Roman Polanski, and he needs to be free, and all these things. These people know that the pedophile rings and the predator rings are all one. Now, Dylan Farrow is the daughter who came out with a letter in 2014 and told everyone what Woody Allen did to her. There are so many cases through Woody Allen's movies that you can see that he is who we all think he is.
Right.
Because when you put 2 and 2 together, it all adds up. But I want to give Ronan and Dylan a moment here because Ronan feels horrible. He was actually investigating Bill Cosby And he wanted to write articles and not be caught up in what happened in his family. And he asked his sister Dylan to not write the letter and have everybody see it because he didn't want it all to come back up again. But the letter alleges that our father, Woody Allen, had groomed her with inappropriate touching as a young girl and sexually assaulted her when she was 7. Being in the media as my sister's story made headlines and Woody Allen's PR engine revved into action gave me a window into just how potent the pressure can be to take the easy way out. Every day, colleagues at news organizations forwarded me the emails blasted out by Allen's powerful publicist, who had years earlier orchestrated a robust publicity campaign to validate my father's sexual relationship with another one of his siblings. It's just twisted. He married another adopted daughter.
Wasn't it a stepdaughter?
Well, it was adopted daughter, so it was like his stepdaughter, yeah. But she grew up with him.
Right.
Those emails featured talking points ready-made to be converted into stories, complete with validators to offer therapists, lawyers, friends, anyone willing to label a young woman confronting a powerful man as crazy, coached, and vindictive. And she said, in fact, when my sister first decided to speak out, she had gone to multiple newspapers. Most wouldn't touch her story. And this is where the whole Trump thing is just absolutely mind-numbing.
So we go back to the accusation with the story. No, it wasn't an accusation. It was the audio that came out was Access Hollywood, where Trump said the women just let you grab them by the whatever. And the left has come out so hard repeating that, the women's marches and things like that. They've really taken that as their kind of flagship against
Trump. But
what's
crazy about it is that with Roman Polanski, they want to say it's just a one-off thing.
Right.
But with Trump, and I hate to defend any behavior like this, but if you take exactly what he said the women throw themselves at you, they let you do this.
Right.
Weinstein, Polanski, and Woody Allen did things to others.
Right.
Jimmy Kimmel put himself onto others.
Right.
Okay, so this is the whole crazy thing.
It's not in defense of what Trump said.
Exactly. So he finally told his sister's decision to step forward. At first he said, please don't. But when Dylan explained her agony in the wake of powerful voices sweeping aside her allegations, the press often willing to be taken along for the ride, and the fear she held for young girls potentially being exposed to a predator,
right,
her father, right? I ultimately knew she was right. I began to speak about her more openly, particularly on social media, and I began to look carefully at my own decisions in covering sexual assault stories. I believe my sister. This was always true as a brother who trusted her, and even at 5 years old, was troubled by our father's strange behavior around her, climbing into her bed in the middle of the night, forcing her to suck his thumb. Behavior that had prompted him to enter into therapy focused on his inappropriate conduct with children prior to the allegations. But more importantly, I've approached the case as an attorney and a reporter and found her allegations to be credible. The facts are pervasive and well documented, and he won't list them here, but somebody else did in Vanity Fair. The only final legal disposition is the custody ruling that found Woody Allen's behavior grossly inappropriate and stressed that measures must be taken to protect Dylan, and then he was never allowed to see her again. And so Mia Farrow kind of was like, okay, but why is this important? Because Weinstein said that the way Woody Allen handled himself during these allegations was superb. These birds of a feather flock together. Okay? It's just absolutely, it's insane. So I'm going to take you through.
Ashley had said it's one thing to say something, it's another thing to actually do it. And these men were actually doing it.
Right, exactly. So there are other times when I'm going to show you two videos, one during the Oscars and this during a 30 Rock episode where the actress jokes about being sexually harassed by Harvey Weinstein.
How long will it take to get a cease and desist order against Weird Al Yankovic? Oh, that's too bad. Did they also take away your handgun license?
Don't do it, J-Mo. You don't want to mess with Weird Al.
Oh, please. I'm not afraid of anyone in show business. I turned down intercourse with Harvey Weinstein on no less than 3 occasions out of 5.
I'm telling you, just let him.
That's the joke. That's a Hollywood joke where everybody knows these things happen. Then there's this during I believe some Academy Oscars. Now listen.
All right. The 2012 nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role are Sally Field in Lincoln, Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables, Jackie Weaver in Silver Linings Playbook, Helen Hunt in The Sessions, and Amy Adams in The Master. Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Right there in the Oscar act, the best supporting actress is a huge award.
Right.
If you're going to lay out a joke,
right,
like that,
right,
that's big. Some people only tune in for like the best actor and supporting actor and the best actress and supporting actress. That's all they tune in for, and that's where they're going to throw that joke. That's how well known.
Right. So this is Ronan. This is and I just kind of wanted to give an idea of how powerful these people are. Sorry, I was thinking in my nose. NBC killed this story. Okay, freelance NBC correspondent Ronan Farrow, whose months-long investigation into reports of Harvey Weinstein's sexual misconduct was spiked by the network, but morphed into a journalistic blockbuster at the New Yorker. Obviously, he went on Rachel Maddow. I don't want to show you that because I can't stand to look at the woman. Right, but everybody is talking about this right now, we told you that former First Lady's daughter Malia Obama recently had the internship with Harvey Weinstein Company. I mean, this is how these birds of a feather flock together. Now, Meryl Streep says not everybody knew about Weinstein. Jessica Chastain,
but they all knew.
Says. Some of these names I don't know who they are, but I know these faces. I've seen her face before. She says everyone knew. I was warned from the beginning. The stories were everywhere. On Monday, actress Jessica Chastain weighed in on the revelations. She says, I was warned from the beginning. The stories were everywhere. To deny that is to create an environment for it to happen again. The Hollywood Reporter highlights Chastain has known Weinstein for several years. And her comments come in stark contrast to Meryl Streep. Obviously, she's probably
okay. But does anybody listen to Meryl Streep anymore?
I think Meryl Streep just is so old she has Alzheimer's. Now,
no, she's very deliberate in what she says and does.
Okay, the FBI is reportedly opening a probe, and I think that's kind of interesting. I think Jeff
we
Sessions
talked about it at the
called for
beginning
that.
if it holds. I'm not sure the original story that we started out here, but that's really fascinating because I'm going to reiterate this. When we've been researching this Las Vegas thing, when does the FBI step in? When does the FBI have jurisdiction? And the FBI's own website says that they are really just there for terrorism to protect the nation. All right, let's hear what Hillary has to say.
Appalled. It was something that was just intolerable in every way. And, you know, like so many people have come forward and spoken.
I can't hear any more of her.
Really?
But it took her a little while.
5 days.
Right. So it was DA.
But they were like this before that. Hillary, you knew.
Right.
Just like you covered up for Bill, you knew.
It was the District Attorney
She's really
Cyrus Vance Jr. who told reporters on Wednesday that if we had a case that we felt we could prosecute, they would prosecute, and that's the audio that we heard. Of course, you had a case. Breitbart is kind enough to bring us live updates. The reports are changing daily. So Jeff Sessions is actually has instructed the Bureau to investigate the mounting allegations. Seth MacFarlane issues a statement on the joke he made about Weinstein in 2013. In 2011, my friend and colleague Jessica Barth, with whom I worked with on the TED films...
Hang on, though.
What?
Good point here before this comment gets going. Kate L. says, you can bet Obama admin vetted him, and doesn't the family have Secret Service? Where were they if Malia Obama worked for him? Here's the thing. That's a really good point, which is why I wanted to call it out, and I did not mean to interrupt you there. But the Obama family would have vetted. They knew. Here's the thing, and this is what's so disgusting about the Obama family. They've always been very into the entertainment industry, totally okay with their daughters being with the most creepy of Hollywood people, with the most creepy of scenes, and just, I'm telling you, they have no problem with their children. Any kind of sexual activity, right. They're okay with it. So they knew. Obama knew that Harvey Weinstein was this kind of guy, and right. still allowed his daughter to go work to be an intern right. there. What does that tell you about Barack Obama if you weren't already convinced? Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So the guy, Seth MacFarlane, was the guy who said that joke about the 5. So this is the backstory to that. Okay. In 2011, his friend and colleague Jessica Barth, with whom he worked on the TED films, confided in him regarding her encounter with Harvey Weinstein and his attempted advances. She has since courageously come forward to speak out. It was with this account in mind that when I hosted the Oscars in 2013, I couldn't resist the opportunity to take a hard swing in his direction. Make no mistake, this came from a place of loathing and anger. There's nothing more important and indefensible than abuse of power such as this, blah, blah, blah. But nobody does anything.
Right.
That's your joke. So what you're saying is that people just joke about these things? TMZ reports that police responded to a call outside Weinstein's daughter house in Los Angeles morning for someone who was suicidal and depressed. Very interesting. Harvey's brother, Bob Weinstein, has spoken up, calling Harvey a very sick man. I've urged him to seek immediate professional help because he is in dire need of it. His remorse and apologies to the victims of his abuse are hollow. He said he would go away for help and has yet to do so. Harvey responded, no matter what derogatory things Bob says about his brother, Harvey Weinstein believes his brother is his brother and does not believe his brother would leak his personal file to the New York Times. So weird. Tom Hanks, isn't it kind of amazing that it took this long?
No, because remember, if we go back, Tom Hanks was one of the ones that contributed to Bill's fund to get him out.
Right. And we talked about this. Actress Léa Seydoux details more allegations in the piece for The Guardian. I had to defend myself the night Harvey Weinstein jumped on me.
He jumped on her.
Yeah. So, and Weinstein tells TMZ that he encouraged his wife, Georgiana Chapman, to do what was in her heart in making a decision about their marriage. And that Chapman decided that they should separate. Now, Jimmy Kimmel has been coming out hard against some sort of moralist.
Right. Against the right
everything.
Altogether. Not just Trump, but literally everybody on the right.
Jimmy Kimmel's I am going to play this because I had to watch it and now you do.
I don't know if I want to watch it. She told me about it.
I've stuffed something in my pants.
Maybe just keep it
small. You're allowed to feel around on the outside of the pants. You have 10 seconds to then guess what is in my pants. You should use 2 hands. 2 hands.
That's probably enough of that.
He has a moral high ground, apparently.
Right. And the other one said you should put your mouth on it. This is Hollywood. These people...
And yet we still flock to the movies. We still watch it. We still support it.
So I'm going to tell you... I wanted to see this movie. I'm going to just kind of give you guys a little bit of...
hang on, you're not there.
Leah and Michelle.
All right, so no. In real life, while she pulls this up, we don't go see movies very often. Right. Leah's been wanting to go see a movie. Usually it's me. And she watches this preview of The Mountain Between Us, and she's like, I want to go see this movie. I don't like these kind of movies because I go to a movie where these people are freezing and I got to take a parka because I freeze too.
So I wanted to see this movie because I'm all about survival, okay? Swiss Family Robinson, things like that. Like, I want to know what to do. People research this stuff. I want to learn. I mean, we lived 6 months without electricity. We made ice on a balcony. We made our food with candles. I like survival.
Need to see it again.
Okay, I'm big on survival. So I'm going to see this, but then I found out that it had a sex scene in it, which was funny because I read an article that said it didn't make sense. She had like gangrene on her leg and just all kinds of weird things. Which doesn't make sense.
If you had gangrene, you just woke up from being knocked out. That's not the first thing that's on your mind.
Okay, so, but I did read...
Gangrene.
Who's this chick again?
It's nasty.
Kate Winslet, right. So I read a little piece. She said it was really cool. She flew every day up to the top of the mountain, 10,000 feet. And then they asked her, you just finished a movie with Woody Allen. How did you feel about the accusations? And she said, well, I just have to put that aside. And she said, I have worked with Roman Polanski too. And I appreciated working with him. Now, she has since come out against Weinstein because she's got a movie out right now. And her publicist is like, you got to condemn this.
Right.
Right? But when it came to Woody Allen, and when it comes to Polanski, this woman doesn't care.
Right.
And so she's not getting my money. And I'm not going to see this movie. I put my foot down. I could have, like, maybe gotten up and left for the sex scene or whatever. But, like, I'm not giving this person my money when you support pedophiles.
Leah and I, just so you know, when we go to movies, and one of our very best friends won't go to movies with us anymore because my mom was in the theaters when we saw Cold Mountain, and there was a scene, and of course we always cover our eyes. That's who we are. And my mom's like, well, I don't want to be in the bedroom with these people. And so my mom's friend was like, I'm never going to the movies with you again. I jokingly told Leah, I said, listen, because she wanted to see this movie. She's like, but there's a sex scene. And I was like, you know what? We can get up and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to get some more popcorn or drink. Anybody want me to get you something? Because I'm leaving now. You want me to get, I mean, that's just who we are. So we always fast forward. We don't even watch kissy scenes. That's just, but we could have gone to see the movie. The point is, Kate Winslet is a hypocrite.
Right.
And y'all can call me crazy. It's my show. I can say whatever the heck I want. If you're going to be the kind of actress like Kate Winslet who has done sex scenes on camera, your mind is broken. All right. You are already a pervert. I don't care what you guys as viewers think. I think a lot of you will agree with me, but maybe not. Maybe you think I'm far-fetched, but whatever. All of these people, if you can be in a room and act, okay, and have a sex scene, any kind of sexual encounter, and have other people watching and filming, and then know that millions of people are going to watch it, you're a pervert. You are perverted. All right, there is something wrong with you. So all of these Hollywood people, Kate Winslet included, they're all sickos.
Right.
I don't care how fun and cute they are. No, but they're just cute. Okay. Every Hollywood actress and actor in that scenario they're all disgusting.
Speaking of actors and actresses, Ben Affleck, he was quiet on this whole thing. Some of these, the big heavy hitters, Ben Affleck, George Clooney, Matt Damon, they all had to come out and say something. Well, this girl here, he grabbed her once, and then he had to come out and say, after he said it was bad.
Hillary Burton.
After what Weinstein did was wrong, he had to come out and say, I acted inappropriately toward Miss Burton and I sincerely apologize. It's just, they are all such weird hypocrites. He obviously had some sort of weird affair on his wife. It's just so weird. And then Rose McGowan was one of the first to come out, and I guess she was one who was paid off. And she said, this is what you said. You said, Ben Affleck, when I told you what happened to me with Weinstein, gosh darn it, I told him to stop doing that. You said that to my face at the press conference I was made to go to after the assault. You lie. So he obviously knew, Matt Damon knew, and then we covered this in our first little tiny segment that you guys were here for, that Casey Affleck has been under a lot of reports of sexual assault. And it's just, it goes on and on and on to all these different people. So I want to go, and I want to talk a little bit about Woody Allen.
Yay.
This is kind of a little three-parter here. Because as I was going down the rabbit hole, Woody Allen and Weinstein and Polanski, they're 3 in 1. They are the golden trifecta of perverseness in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
And none of their movies are any good.
Right. They're so weird.
Opinion. They're all very odd.
So when I started to research and I read Dylan Farrow's open letter, and I believe her.
This is her right here.
I believe her. That her father did weird things, and you can read it. All the links are in the description. He sexually assaulted her. He did weird things to her and with her, and she thought that this was how fathers treat their daughters. And when he sexually assaulted her, she went to her mother and said, "Is this how fathers treat their daughters?" And then even after that, Mia Farrow said, you can, in this letter, she says, my mom said I could, if I was lying or making it up, that's okay. She's like, I did not make this up. people didn't believe me.
And you were saying, because I did not, and I have a hard time reading these kinds of things, so I'm just not going to read it. If you want to tell it to the viewers, that's fine. But you were saying that the things that she described in her letter were too specific for somebody to have just made up.
And her brother recounted them. He made her suck his thumb. He would go in, like, just with his underwear in the middle of the night and sleep with her. He would pick her up and carry her everywhere, and he would like put his head on her naked body and just breathe. I mean, this weird child molesting things.
Now, I wonder if you couldn't take a second and briefly, as brief as possible, talk about what we were talking about on the walk.
I am right now going to go into that.
Oh, okay, great. The Marcuse thing and the whole mindset, great.
So, we often cover cultural Marxism, and we try to cover the root of the problem. That's what we get at. I'm not going to just tell you Weinstein's bad, Woody Allen's bad. You guys, I know why they did these things. I know why. And it can be stopped. We have to undo it. It's the same reason that we have transgender junk in public schools.
Right. But it's still all tied into the globalist agenda. It's tied into everything that Resistance Chicks is. Everything. It was part of an entire movement.
Right.
Okay, and this is a branch of it, which is why we're hitting it hard tonight and setting all the other news aside.
Right, exactly. Exactly, because you guys some of you might be new. In 1917, 3 Jews, and I know you guys like to hit on the Jews, came over from the Frankfurt School in Germany. And one of the guys' name was Herbert Marcuse. And he became this intellectual. You can't even understand him. But he published many works, one of them called Eros in Civilization. And his desire, he was a communist, his desire was to see Marxism married to Freud, with Freud unleashed. Okay? So I spent all last night reading Sigmund Freud.
I'm not going to do it, guys.
And reading about this polymorphously perverse idea that infants, a Freudian term referring to early stage of sexual development, approximately 5 years of age, from infancy to 5 years of age, when one is capable of experiencing sexual pleasure from all parts of the body instead of just sexual parts of the body.
It's a completely fictional title. It does not exist. It's
exactly.
fake.
So the LGBT community has latched on to this. Now, this idea of experiencing sexuality throughout your whole body is in Eros in Civilization by Marcuse, who coined the term make love, not war. His idea was Freud. This is so creepy, you guys. I mean, I could tell you the stuff in the works. I don't want you to read it. I don't want you to read it. Sigmund Freud, he's just such a tormented satanic person who believed that little boys would breastfeed on their mothers, and then the look of satisfaction and then sleep was the same thing that men feel after they've had sex. So he in his work say that children are actually feeling sexual when they breastfeed. Okay? He also believed that between the ages of 3 and 6 that boys fought this battle with their dads because they wanted to have sex with their mothers.
It's ridiculous.
And it's just really crazy.
Tell us about the case study.
Well, the case study was the Hans study with a little boy who his dad was twisted in his mind and met up with Freud, who was twisted in his mind. And his dad would go to Freud and say, my son is afraid of horses. He was bit by a horse. And then they came down to the idea, the conclusion was that horses have large genitalia. And so the large genitalia horse represents the father. And the little boy is afraid that the father will castrate him. And that's why he's afraid of being bitten by the horse. That the horse will take off his, male parts. And that the little boy was jealous of the father and said, I'm going to have a child with mom. And you're going to be the grandfather. And so Freud has come up with this whole thing that kids are sexual and everything is sexual. But as kids through society grow up to be more likely to be heterosexual because through evolution they need families and procreation. So what did Marcuse say? Marcuse said Freud was great, but you know what? What if we were sexual from infants and we never stopped? What if we didn't have those bounds? What if everything was sexual? What if we could do whatever we wanted? And
Right.
Karl Marx and Robert Engels, who wrote the Communist Manifesto, greatly desired for married men, for basically, it's not about women's freedom, by the way. It was about having sex with all these single women, okay? And that's what Karl Marx wanted. They wanted to destroy the family because these are perverted men who wanted to have sex with as many women as they could, and they didn't want to have responsibility, which is why you have communism, so the state will take responsibility of any children. And that's why you need abortion. That's why you need contraception, so these men can do anything they want and never be responsible, which is why people like Harvey Weinstein and Hugh Hefner give so much money to Planned Parenthood.
Right.
Now, this polymorphously perverse phrase I had never heard before last night, but it's twice in Woody Allen's movies. He calls Diane Keaton and Annie Hall in a positive way. You're just polymorphously perverse. So this is where these guys get these ideas.
Where they're getting their ideas.
So Weinstein and Woody Allen, I expect even Woody Allen felt like he was this awesome atheist, the same thing that the Frankfurt School does, the same thing that Marcuse does, the same thing that Karl Marx does, and they're very intellectual, okay? And Woody Allen's big shtick was, I'm so smart, women should want me and throw their bodies at me because I'm so intelligent. I'm so witty, even though he's so ugly.
Pause, and maybe you could give him the backstory on Woody Allen. So he was married to an Asian lady, and they had a daughter. Or she had a daughter, right? Or they adopted her.
Whoa. Woody Allen was married to Mia Farrow.
Right, but then he had the Asian lady next.
No. Okay, they adopted...
Dylan.
No, they adopted the Asian girl.
Okay.
Mia Farrow had adopted a girl from Korea.
Okay.
And she grew up in the household with Mia Farrow and Woody Allen.
And then he married her.
After
he divorced Mia Farrow. But he said that he picked her up off the streets. She was picking up trash.
Yeah.
In the streets. My point that I'm getting to, the backstory doesn't really matter, was that he said, somebody had asked him in an interview, do you feel that she has changed you? And he said, no, I've been the exact same for 20 years. She hasn't changed me at all. I get all of my joy and pleasure out of enriching her life and changing her. She was nothing. She didn't have any friends. She had no life. I have given her everything because he feels like she was just this dumb, ignorant child. And he's this completely intelligent superhero.
Her name is Soo Yin Previn. And they are 35 years apart. Previn was college age when she started dating Allen, who was in his late 50s. And he explained his union with her thusly. I was paternal. She responded to someone fatherly. I liked her youth and energy. She deferred to me, and I was happy to give her an enormous amount of decision-making just as a gift and let her take charge of so many things. She flourished. How has your wife, Soo Yi, changed you? And he responded, oh, well, one of the great experiences of my life has been my wife. She had a very, very difficult upbringing in Korea, and she was an orphan on the streets, living out of trash cans and starving at 6 years old. And she was picked up and put in an orphanage. And so I've been able to really make her life better. Now, Mia Farrow adopted her. And he says that he made her life better. I provided her with enormous opportunities, and she has sparked to them. She's educated herself and has tons of friends and children and got a college degree and went to graduate school and has traveled all over with me now. She's very sophisticated and has been to all the great capitals of Europe. She has just become a different person. So the contributions I've made to her life have given me more pleasure than any of my films. And then when asked if she has changed his life, he says, no, no one changes me. I'm just who I am. And then we can see that all the different things in Woody Allen's life, he doesn't want to hide them. He puts them in movies. So what does he do? He actually makes a movie. I'm not sure if I have this one up. It's called Whatever Works. And in this movie...
I never want to go to Grant's tomb. Now I know why.
This is the Woody Allen character. He always plays a character, or he has a character that plays him. He's intelligent. He's smart. And this country bumpkin girl who plays
I heard all about this on our dog walk today. She told me all
21-year-old
this.
who comes up from the South. She meets him and thinks that he's so intelligent. He's obviously ugly. He's demented. But he's so smart. And she's like, she just loves him being so smart and intelligent. They get married in the movie. She's 21. He puts his whole life in a movie, but then they end up divorced, and it's just weird. But this is the most anti-Christian movie that you will probably ever see. And
You won't see it. You're not allowed.
Ever.
I say so.
My mom brought me up to believe that the good Lord has a plan that we're all a part of. He has his eye on the sparrow.
Yeah, I pity the sparrow.
I'm not getting into heaven, though. I sinned.
You? You're kidding. You sinned?
I made love before I was married.
Oh.
Then she goes on in a really disgusting, disturbing way to explain it.
You're not going to play it.
No. And then at the end, and I stumbled across this because somebody else had put this out there. I didn't make this up. I read this in an article. Somebody was pulling out Woody Allen scenes. And in the end, he says, well, did you stay with the young man that you had, this scene, this
extramarital?
No. He was involved with Sally Mae, and I didn't want to ruin that. So this is classic Karl Marx. Anybody can have sex with anybody who they want.
Right.
You just do whatever you want. That's why this movie is called Whatever Works. In the rest of the movie, her parents come down, right? Wondering what's going on with their daughter. And there are Southern Christians, right? And they believe that abortion's bad and homosexuality is bad and all these things. Well, at the end of the movie, the mom leaves the dad and has two lovers at the same time.
And that's praised in the movie.
Right. This guy is supposed to be the intellectual guy that pulls people out of Christianity because it's so awful.
Right.
And the dad sits down in a bar and says, homosexuality is bad and it's unnatural. But later he discovers, well, maybe I am a homosexual. So his dad becomes homosexual.
Her dad.
Yeah. And the woman becomes this crazy
floozy.
And the girl marries him, but then ends up with the younger guy. It's just this weird, twisted thing. So somebody actually put together a list that shows just how perverted Woody Allen is. And this person says, when I first watched Annie Hall as a teenager, and by the closing credits, I had become a Woody Allen fan. Since then, I have followed the director's career closely and seen nearly all his films. Yet, when his new, as yet untitled movie for Amazon Studios was announced, and more precisely, when it was announced that the movie would star Selena Gomez, among other 20-something babyface stars, I grimaced, along with the rest of the internet. I realized the casting bothered me. It was not because Selena Gomez is a terrible actress. Rather, it made me uneasy to see young women such as Gomez and Elle Fanning working with the man accused of molesting his adopted daughter. So when he goes on, he recaps what happened, and he recaps Dylan's letter. And so when he looks at the movies, he says, "Oh my gosh, this all is in the movie."
When you sit back and you look at, and this is going to tie into the whole Eminem thing that we're going to cover here in a minute. It's really simple. You really can sometimes judge a book by its cover and its content.
Right.
When Woody Allen is putting out content, you can't put out this kind of content without it being on the inside. When Eminem raps about strangling girls and raping them and eating babies and whatever, that's really, he's not just doing that for effect.
Right.
That's really what he feels.
Okay, so his first case point is in this movie called Manhattan. Now, this woman right here, her name is Meryl Hemingway. Muriel, and she was 16 in this movie. And Woody Allen is that ugly mug.
I can't.
Played a twice divorced 41-year-old who says that he is sleeping with her as a 17-year-old. Now, they have a kissing scene. As a 16-year-old, she had never been kissed and was nervous about it. But in the book she writes, but he attacked her like a lion. So you have Woody Allen.
So what you're saying is they didn't even have a practice scene. They just did her first kiss and just captured it.
Right.
That's disgusting.
And here's the thing. Woody Allen writes the movie, casts the girl so that he can molest her on screen. This is what he does. This is what Hollywood people do all the time. What's his name who played Donald Trump? He did that. He casted a 16-year-old girl and had sex scenes with her.
Who plays Donald Trump?
Alec Baldwin. Yes. And this was recent. But anyways, she was 16, but she played a 17-year-old character. And later, right when she turned 18, she says, our relationship was platonic, but I started to see that he had a kind of crush on me. Though I dismissed it as a kind of thing that would seem to happen at any time a middle-aged man got around young women. The actress suggests that Allen attempted to act upon the crush by flying to her parents' home in Idaho and inviting the teen to Europe. The actress cautioned her parents that I didn't know what the sleeping arrangement was going to be in Paris, that I wasn't sure if I was even going to get my own room. Woody hadn't said that. He hadn't even hinted at it. But I wanted them to put their foot down. They didn't. They kept lightly encouraging me to go with him.
Bad parents.
Hemingway says that she woke up at night with the realization that no one was going to get their own room. His plan, such as it was, involved being with me, having sex with her as soon as she turned 18. She says that she went into his guest room and woke him up asking, I'm not going to get my own room, am I? I can't go to Paris with you. And he left. No, you weren't going to get your own room. You were going to go to Paris and you were going to have sex with me because I waited until you turned 18 so I could molest you. Because I've been wanting to. I picked you out at 16 so I could do this to you because that's who he was. That's who he is. That's who Hollywood is. And they base it all on this Marcuse, polymorphous, Freud. If you read Freud, and you believe him, then you are a pedophile.
Right.
If you believe that children are sexual from infant on, you're a pedophile. They're all pedophiles. All of them.
Right.
It's just absolutely mind-boggling. Now, children can be molested and things in development can get thrown off course.
Sure.
But true children in a loving family develop properly. Okay, Michelle and I were talking about the videos that we showed you a while back on the 1950s courting, where it was like Sally and Jimmy, they'd go, you like to ride bikes?
Hang on, because this is your spiel here, but I do want to insert something. Sometimes we get some commenters when we bring that up about the moral fiber during that time, pretty much pre-1950, all right? And we get questioned, they're like, oh, you know that they weren't that way. That's all TV propaganda. I'm sorry, it's not. Because Leah and I have spent a lot of time questioning. We ask questions. That's what we do. Even before we were doing Resistance Chicks, we want to know. I have asked, probably no less than 24 people from that era, did this go on? No. To quote one of our Virgin Diaries, Jerry always said, you might have felt a girl up, you might have gone necking in the car, but you didn't feel a girl up. You didn't do it. It wasn't done. And he was a virgin in New York when he married his wife, and he wasn't even a Christian. He was not a Christian godly man.
And he was saying this was in New York during the time of World War II.
This is what you did. So anyone that tries to come at Resistance Chicks and say, oh, it's all a facade, they actually did sleep together. No, because guess what? Birth control was illegal. If you slept with somebody, they could get pregnant and everybody would know about it.
And there'd be a lot of shame.
And it wasn't just actually sleeping. They weren't doing any of these second, third base stuff either, all right? It just wasn't happening. You respected. So when you have the Sally met, whatever, it really was wholesome.
And they really did have the self-control, which is why Marcuse, and they have to get into the schools and they have to tell you, Freud says that people did put on constraints. And Marcuse says, release the man, release the beast, release the constraints, have sex with whoever you want, don't constrain yourself. But before the 1950s, people actually had self-control. I was telling Michelle, it's kind of like when you put a birthday cake on the table. Everyone knows you just don't go eat it. You wait till the end of the party, you wait for the candles, and then you eat the cake.
Happy birthday first. You don't just go cut into the cake.
Marcuse in the 1960s said,
as soon as you show up at the party, go take a slice out of that cake.
And so then
even if it ain't your cake.
Then everybody says, well, everybody's doing it. No. Hugh Hefner had to make people. He wanted to change people's minds. If you read and you listen to his interviews, they changed people's minds. They unleashed and they twisted people's minds so that they felt like they had to when they didn't. Okay? So back to Woody Allen. It was movies that did this to people. It got them thinking in a way, well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I don't need to be so self-controlled. Remember, you guys, before a certain time, they had 2 different beds in rooms. Lucy and Desi
on the television.
had 2 different beds so that people's minds wouldn't go in that direction.
Right.
Okay?
Every movie had to be approved by somebody from the clergy before it could go on screen.
Right. So this next clip is from Hannah and Her Sisters, which actually starred Mia Farrow. And it's just this tiny little clip that says he's running around. It's all of his movies are really scattered. And he says, while asking why all of a sudden is the sketch dirty, the producer replies, child molestation is a touchy subject with the affiliates. Read the papers, Allen's character replies. Half of the country is doing it. Yes, but you name the names. And so one of the things that he does is he says things so quickly
that you don't catch it.
Right.
They're doing it because our ratings are low. My grade. Vicky, listen, we had the right to run on these restroom. This kid wants to take him 1,600 plane routes. I don't think he's going to be able to do a shuttle. Why me, Lloyd? What did I... This practice is okay. Why all of a sudden is the sketch dirty? Child molestation is a touchy subject to the affiliates. Read the papers. Half the country's doing it. Yes, but you name names. We don't name names. We say the post. That sketch cannot go on either. Hey!
Why all of a sudden is child molestation dirty? Half the country is doing it. And you don't even realize it because he says it that fast.
And you guys all know this. I don't need to tell you. But whenever you have a predator, they always find a way. This is how rapists get caught. Because they have to mouth off about it. They have to say it. You have to. Even just as basic as being a liar, right? You may lie, but to somebody you're telling the truth. Because you have to get it out there. You can't just keep it a secret.
So in this clip, he's with a girl, and obviously these drop-dead gorgeous girls, he picks them. He's the ugliest dude on the face of the planet. Probably the ugliest person on the face of the planet, in my estimation.
Inside and out.
Yeah. So she starts to talk about her father and how great her father is. And then he says, you guys, it's so twisted. Did you have a crush on him? Go ahead, you can tell me. It's really weird.
On her own dad.
An antique connoisseur and a wine expert, and he's probably gorgeous, right? With the green temples and the aquiline profile. A great looking man. Yeah. Okay.
So she says that about her father.
That was a great looking man.
Father was away in her sanitarium. They flocked around. Yeah, what about you? Tell me, do you have a little crush on him? You can admit this to me if you like.
Sure, we had a little flirt.
Sure, we had a little flirting.
Her and her dad.
A little small flirt. Mother away getting shock treatment.
Your mother away at the sanitarium. You're
getting shock treatment.
The only beautiful daughter home. Long lingering breakfasts with dad.
The only beautiful daughter home. Long and lingering
breakfast with dad.
Yeah, just getting more feeling.
My mother, she was very beautiful.
Your mother? Yeah.
Your back is very tense.
I don't even know where to go from there. In another clip, and I don't think I have it up, and that's okay. He says in that same movie, she gets angry because she says, in a scene later about this woman's cousin, I'm not attracted to her, Sandy says defensively. What are you talking about? You were staring at her all through dinner, giving each other looks. Stop it, she's 14. She's not even 14. She's 13 and a half. I don't care. I used to play those games with my father, so I know. I've been through all of that. And it's just this weird, twisted mentality that he knew that he was going to molest his children, his daughter. He was, and it's just...
I don't understand how a man can marry his daughter and the allegations not already by default of him molesting his other daughter be true.
Right, exactly. And so we told you that in Whatever Works, you got this much older man, and so you have you have him using the word polymorphous perversity a couple times. You have him talking about child molestation, writing whole movies about fathers and daughters, and then the Whatever Works movie. And you have the open letter by Dylan. I mean, this is an open and cut case.
Open and shut. Cut and dry. That's what you want.
This is the article that says Harvey Weinstein, Polanski has served his time and must be freed. Roman Polanski is a man. This is the article by Weinstein. Roman Polanski is a man who cares deeply about his art and its place in the world. What happened to him on his incredible path is filled with tragedy, and most men would have collapsed. Instead, he became a great artist and continues to make great films. I was with him when he won the Legion of Honor in France, which was a spectacular day. I remember the incredible love and affection that people had for him. And he goes on to say, if you bring him back to the U.S., he could face life in jail.
I got the point. Are we done yet?
We're talking about Weinstein and Polanski. So whatever you think about the so-called crime, Polanski has served his time. A deal was made with the judge, and the deal was not honored. The theory going around is that the reason Switzerland cooperated and acted on a long-standing extradition order with the United States this time was because of their own troubles with financial crisis. And he goes on, and he asks a bunch of people he helped Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino wanted to get Roman Polanski out. I mean, all these people... Even Martin Scorsese was up to win Best Picture for Gangs of New York, and he says, I'm glad I lost to, if anybody, it was to Polanski. I think the reason we can all be on Polanski's side over this is not to do with what happened in 1977. It's to do with the fact that the punishment of what happened so many years ago had already been decided. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
So there's Polanski. We didn't actually put a picture of him up yet. For those of you that don't know what this creepo looks like.
And the guy said, Polanski says, as far as what I did, it's over. It's over. I don't care. And then, actually, when this article came out, I'm not sure exactly when, another German actress who was 61 years old accused Polanski of raping her on two separate occasions in 1972, and she was 15. But the only reason she came out now was her parents died, and she was afraid that it would just ruin her mom if her mom knew. And I can understand, I guess, from that point of view. There were other women who came out against Polanski. So I think that's kind of, this is Woody Allen, this is Polanski. These are all these crazy, awful perverts. And I think I had a... Here we go. Here is where we're going to get into our little conspiracy theory Marcuse thing. To give you an idea, it's so weird. This one is so weird. I'm not going to play it all. To give you an idea of Eros and civilization, everything is sexual. Even a chair can be sexual. So this opera, this teen opera.
I'm a little late, but I'm 30 seconds behind. Mothers always know it would free her mother. If you tell your mother, it'll set her free.
Right.
She'll think for herself and she'll see it. I always knew it.
Always need to tell. Always need to tell. So this is a teen opera, and they decided to put together a 10-minute thing to explain Eros and civilization. I'm going to give you just a couple seconds of this. It's really weird. These women represent the chair. Remember, this is teens, teenagers. Let's see if I get to...
So the women represent the chair?
Yeah.
But how can the chair be sexual if you need women to represent it?
Exactly. Exactly. So, and I'm going to...
While we're waiting for that to buffer, good night, John Petter. Thank you for being here
Yes.
this evening as a moderator.
Of course it's going to. It's not...
Maybe we're not supposed to see it.
Maybe not.
Maybe we're supposed to take your word for it. Because then we're going to wrap up with Eminem.
We could use the vacation. Yes, happening it should use one. What's the matter? Business. Nice. The sure thing.
Let's see, get to the thing here.
Those are teenagers?
No, the orchestra's teenagers.
Okay.
The chair is in love with the man, by the way.
Sure. Don't worry.
So as soon as the guy leaves, then he attacks the chair. It's so weird.
I don't want to see the dude attack the chair.
I'm just going to kind of, I want to just get to the point where he just like kind of, like, it's just weird. The whole idea is to explain to kids what his deal was. What was Eros and civilization.
It's hurting my head.
I know. Thesis for teenagers.
How can the chair have a smile?
I'm laughing.
This can't be real.
It is real.
But if the chair is a chair, it doesn't have a hand. No. I can't. Oh my gosh. Stop it.
Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. It's bad. I have the link if you guys want to watch it. He attacks the chair.
I don't want to see
This
it.
is teenagers. And I just want you... This is the perverseness that's in schools. They're teaching this stuff to kids, okay? This is Eros and Civilization. This is the... You can read it yourself if you want to try to get through it. Again, feel free to attack the Jews on this one because the guy's a Jew, but he's not really a Jew because he doesn't believe in God, so... Just stop.
At that point, it's just a lineage.
Exactly. And he critiques neo-Freudian revisionism, and he goes on. It is just a bunch of psychobabalism and men who think they want to be smart. And I thought maybe I could probably give you like,
No, let's move on.
Let's move on.
They get it. Let's do Eminem and then sign off.
Well, this, if you felt like
I
have
dropped all of these links in
to
the description. They're already there. They're ready to go.
Okay, so this is Jimmy Carter, American Moralist, and I just wanted to read this little thing. Sex and violence were also beginning to be linked culturally. Perhaps the best known linkage was found in the then popular book based in part on Freud's Metapsychology by Herbert Marcuse, Eros and Civilization. And then he goes on to say, his thinking, however, with these themes too, and perhaps push them to a more popular cultural forefront.
Popular.
Right. So Woody Allen's movies are so sexual and they're so perverted. And all these movies, they put culture... Everybody wants to know, what is cultural Marxism? Cultural Marxism is Woody Allen dropping molestation into his movies.
You can't have all of this perversion and separate it from society. A lot of people ask us, what is cultural Marxism?
Right.
It is implementing Marxist ideas through cultural things, such as movies. So the perversion that we see in society, the decline in the family, in morality all together, has to do with the fact that when the television set came out, every family all of a sudden got it. And they went from doing things outside and participating in life to in the evening sitting down in front of a box where they could be fed the propaganda machine. Okay? And so our society has had such a rapid decline since movies, since Hollywood, since television, and it has been on purpose. And so it played right, the technological advance played right into the hand to actually launch the Marcusian ideas, but the New World Order ideas that started in the late 1800s. The technology actually just allowed it to skyrocket, and that's why we're living in it today.
Yeah, so you wanted to go, and we're gonna finish with Eminem, but here's a little clip for you guys.
You're gonna do, and then you go away. You're gonna be here with us. Has someone coerced you into being here?
Do you count Harvey Weinstein as a coercer?
No, Harvey Weinstein is I don't know whether he's in some kind of organized crime now.
Just disgusting. But oh my gosh, this was hilarious to me. Mom is gonna love this.
No. Did they? Is this really Diamond and Silk?
So if you guys don't know already, Eminem tried to rip Donald Trump, called him Orange Man. Now Diamond and Silk did something hilarious. And then we're going to finish with Paul Joseph Watson. And then
he's going to get rid of all immigrants. He's going to build that thing up taller than this. And any fan of mine who's a supporter of his, I'm drawing in the sand a line. You're either for or against. And if you can't decide who you like more in your split on who you should stand beside, I'll do it for you with this.
I love her. Eminem.
Drop that beat. Trump's your president. He's your president. He's a president. Trump's your president. He's your president. He's a president. Trump's your president. He's your president. He's your president. Trump's your president. He's your president. He's your president. Trump's your president. So get over it. Stop crying like a baby and a little bitch. You mad that Hillary lost. Diamond Silk trying to tell you that Trump the boss. He's a baller. A shot caller. I hope he builds that damn wall 10 feet taller. Build that wall. Build it tall. Protect us all before this country falls. Now you can go around talking about you hate Trump. Take a look in the mirror. You just got stomped. So you take offense to draw a line in the sand to make a choice between you and him like you the man. So let me tell you something that you really need to know. A lot of your fans work for Trump, so maybe you need to go. So tell the NFL they should stand the up and still a kneeling on the flag trying to pull a stunt. And they can take a kneel during halftime, but don't do it on our watch, our time, or our dime. Instead, you had to use the word racism to make a connect. But I'm telling you right now, your whole rap was whack. Boom! He's your president. He's your president. And he's going to win again. He's your president. He's your president. He's a ball baby. A shot caller.
No.
He's your president. He's your president.
Stop it. Play the whole thing. Don't stop it.
He's your president. He's your president.
No.
That was hilarious.
I love them so much. I love them so much. Oh my gosh.
And I know a lot of people are like, Donald Trump's doing this, Donald Trump's doing that. Listen, you guys, Donald Trump represents us. When Eminem or anybody comes out against Donald Trump, they're not coming out against Trump, you guys. They hate us.
Right.
They hate the people. No matter what Donald Trump does, they don't care because he can turn into the worst neocon liberal person in the whole world, but he still represents us. So they will always hate us.
Exactly. But there were so many things in Eminem's rap that were actual bold-faced lies, which I found ironic because he likes to call out Obama in this rap. However,
and any fan of mine
Trump
who's a supporter of his,
and going to his
I'm drawing in the sand a line. You're either for or against.
The facts are that Trump hasn't been doing that. Trump hasn't been taking big vacations. But there was a president for 8 years that I know of that actually
racism's the only thing he's fantastic for.
Going on vacation. If you have a job,
because that's how he gets
most of it is
rocks
all
off and he's orange.
We got a problem. And Obama's job as president was spent with him flying everywhere.
When he attacks the NFL, so we focus on that instead of talking Puerto Rico with gun reform from Nevada.
Rap, obviously, it was all terrible. Was when he made fun of the hits, all right? Talking about building the wall.
Now if you're a black athlete, you're a spoiled little brat for trying to use your platform and your stature.
That all of the people that voted for Trump are ignorant hillbillies. And I found that incredibly offensive. What if he had called out any other demographic?
In Woody Allen's movie.
Right.
Calling out Hicks and stuff like that. Yeah, so you wanted to...
Well, no, there were just a couple of the lyrics that I was trying to pull up. He says, instead of talking Puerto Rico or gun reform for Nevada, all of these horrible tragedies, and he's bored and would rather cause a Twitter storm with the Packers than he says he wants to lower our taxes, then who's going to pay for his extravagant trips back and forth with his fam to golf resorts and his mansions? And so I just wanted to give a backstory for, you know, that specific
So
spot.
Paul Joseph Watson kind of slammed him. I spent a little bit this afternoon looking at his lyrics.
They're bad, dude.
Eminem
He's
is
a sicko.
Possessed by many demons.
Yeah. We are legion.
He has
or there are
the
many.
worst lyrics, I think, possibly on the face of the planet. He hated his ex-wife so much, he made a music video in which he killed...
Oh, hang on. Wait, I'm sorry, guys.
What?
I played a video.
You did?
I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Is it still playing? You're not typing in anything right now.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Wait, so should I keep talking?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go to Paul Joseph Watson.
Now that rapping about murdering his girlfriend and calling people fags doesn't sell as many records, Eminem has devised a fresh, original, truly original way to resonate with his audience. Call Donald Trump a racist!
Racism's the only thing he's fantastic for.
So edgy! Literally no other celebrity has said that about Trump. Trump, the same guy that the hip-hop community adored for decades. Oh, don't take my word for it. Here's the Huffington Post explaining how, before 2015, Trump was praised in no less than 67 major hip-hop songs. Rappers love Donald Trump.
Split swishers with my thumb. Get money like Donald Trump.
I might pull a wreck and get ratchet, but I'll be down with Trump for these hoes.
I make $1 million and come together, Donald Trump taking dollars from y'all. I wanna be a Trump. That Bill Gates, Donald Trump, Bloomberg money.
But as soon as Trump started taking on the Democratic establishment, he suddenly became a racist and rappers started attacking him. Isn't that an amazing coincidence? But wait, let's give Eminem a chance. He's a great lyricist. Surely he's gonna bring something new, something different, something captivating. Surely he's not just gonna call Donald Trump orange.
He's orange. Racist 94-year-old grandpa.
Yeah, maybe you should check into Trump's racist past, Marshall, because he probably hung around with even more black people than you did. The Clintons destroyed black families.
Super predatory.
While Trump at least has a plan to rebuild the inner cities, including your hometown of Detroit. Oh, but Trump's the racist.
But we better give Obama props, because what we got in office now's a kamikaze that'll probably cause a nuclear holocaust.
No, Marshall, the person who wanted a nuclear holocaust was Hillary Clinton.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
You know, the person you cussed out 18 years ago when you were actually relevant. You know, the 90s when you were somewhat counterculture. Unlike now when you couldn't have your tongue more firmly jammed up the ass of the establishment. Oh, I'm sorry, Eminem's leading the resistance. That's why every corporate media outlet is creaming their pants over his tantrum. What exactly are you resisting? The Democratic establishment hates Trump. The Republican establishment hates Trump. The media hates Trump. Academia hates Trump. Hollywood hates Trump. The TV industry hates Trump. Oh, but you're so controversial for pushing the very same talking points that they do, and then being rewarded for it by those very same industries. So brave! You can't be the dominant culture and the counterculture at the same time. That's not how it works. And you want to give Obama props.
We better give Obama props.
Yeah, where was your anti-war rage when Obama was simultaneously bombing 7 different countries? I guess criticizing a black president just doesn't make commercial sense, does it? But I'm sure that Eminem's rage is all spontaneous, heartfelt
and genuine. I'm sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with him having a record coming out soon. I mean, it's not like he's literally got a new album coming out next month, is it? Oh look, he does! Well, imagine my shock. Eminem, you're not edgy, you're not counterculture, you're a 44-year-old has-been who's completely run out of creative ideas. Your recent albums were panned by the critics, so now you're trying to ingratiate yourself by glomming onto the fake anti-Trump resistance, by resorting to the most cringeworthy, unoriginal, boring, virtue-signalling crap imaginable. What a total fucking sellout. You made your name by lampooning mindless, safe, dull pop culture. Now you're genuflecting in a desperate effort to become a central part of that same vapid pop culture. How pathetically sad. You can hang out in as many multi-story car parks as you like. It's not going to change the fact that you're a cum bucket for the corporate machine. You've got the nerve to stand there with your $200 million net worth and claim to be some kind of voice of the people, while putting on a fake southern accent to smear millions of ordinary Americans.
He's gonna get rid of all immigrants
who voted for Trump because 8 years of Obama's economic hate crimes left them dead broke.
He's gonna get rid of all immigrants.
Fuck you, you little prick.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably not.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably not. The fuck is that? That's just objectively terrible.
I'd say Paul's a little upset
go
here
back to
dropping
being
the
a drug
F-bombs.
addict if it helps.
Paul.
Do something, Eminem, because this
Not
is just
acceptable.
fucking painful. When your lyrics sound like they were written by Keith Olbermann, it's probably time to...
Yeah. So there was
Sometimes
that.
like breeds like, unfortunately.
Just to give you a little idea, this woman actually kind of laughs as she goes through a couple of Eminem's worst songs. And I want to just give you an idea of some of them.
His sadistic alter ego, Slim Shady, has unapologetic. And we're going to take a look at some of his. Let's take it to 1999 when Eminem dropped Guilty Conscience. He has gone on record to say that he wrote this song to prove he was a real rapper, could also write concept songs, and was credited for writing Dr. Dre's lyrics as well. The song caused controversy as the rapper was perceived to promote robbery, date rape, and murder. Take a look.
Now listen to me, when you're kissing the cheek, smearing the lipstick.
You know what? You don't need
can't.
to read the rest of that one. That one's really bad. Sorry, it's just bad. Just take my word for it.
Song Criminal upset the LGBT.
It's so bad we can't play it.
It was bad. It was bad.
My words are like a dagger with a jagged edge. It'll stab you in the head, whether you're a fag or leg. For the homo sex, a rap, or a trans event. Hands addressed, hate facts, the answer's yes. Homophobic, nah, you're just heterophobic. Staring in my jeans.
And then it goes even worse and worse and worse, which is hilarious that this particular one makes everybody more angry than any other one because it's against trans people and it's homophobic. The rest of it, he talks about like eating children, killing his ex-wife, married a dude, I guess, and they had a 4-year-old, and he wrote a whole song, and he says, I stabbed the kid. I'm killing the child. I'm killing the child. I killed her. And then he kills his ex-wife in a thing. He rapes his own mother and puts her, like, in one of the music videos, he puts his mom in the ground. He's like, I can't even play that song anymore. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
I didn't really mean that I wanted to put my mom in the
Now,
ground.
these are the actual lyrics. These are the songs that he has done. But in his own personal life,
right?
He's I don't know. He gets into the satanic. He bathes in blood. I mean,
Right.
it's all very creepy, very weird. It's kind of like the Abramovich, cult. There, it's all just strange.
I thought about actually playing it, but then I realized I can't.
It's that bad.
Like, I can't. Like, seriously, this guy is so bad that people listen to it. And one of the things that people were saying when I was looking through, these were admirers of Eminem.
Right.
Putting together his controversial lyrics, saying he's just saying these things. He doesn't mean them.
No, you can't say those kind of things without meaning them.
He is demon possessed. Seriously. And
what's more is songs, we all know this. When you listen to music, it gets inside of you. Okay? So it has to be inside of him for him to sing it, but it also has to be so sick inside of him that he wants to put it inside of other people.
One was really, really bad. a 15-year-old was actually put behind bars because he posted these Eminem lyrics. I take 7 kids from Columbine, stand them all in a line, at an AK-47, a revolver, a 9, a Mac 11, and it ought to solve the problem of mine. And that's a whole school of bullies shut up at one time because I'm shady. They call me crazy, blah, 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 blah. So it was 1 year after Columbine, and he says, I would have killed the whole school in a song. And how he even gets to keep singing,
it's not really singing.
I keep doing his thing. It's demonic. It's the whole Woody Allen thing. It's the Weinstein thing. Right. He talks about raping people over again. The words, I can't. He vulgarly describes gang rape. Raping people, raping other people he doesn't even know. I mean, it's just, he talks about killing babies. Killing them, like infanticide, eating.
All right.
I mean, it's just
so. I think we get the Eminem thing. He came out with this rap against Trump, and I think Paul called it. He has an album coming out. He's just trying to be relevant. Leah and I earlier when we were talking about, she's like, I don't even really want to give him the time of day, and I didn't either. But Worth a Look had sent it to me, and he used to be a fan, and there were a lot of people that used to be fans of Eminem, and it's not a matter of, for Leah and I, what you may not know is we used to dance hip hop. I like rap a lot. Lecrae was one of my favorite artists in the Christian realm. I really do enjoy that music, but what this guy does is satanic. And so you just have to acknowledge it. You have to say, you know what? That's bad. It's satanic, it's evil. Now, before we sign off, our mom wanted us to, for a minute I sounded like Alex Jones. I don't know if that's a compliment. But I don't know. Sometimes I get as excited as Alex Jones.
Torah is a radio-free...
I have a song to end on.
All right. Yes. All right. No, not yet, though. Thank you. That is, like, an awesome song. The MGM. How does it all tie together? MGM owns the Mandalay Bay. They also are right next door to the Mandalay Bay. And they got started with movies. It's not a hotel, guys. I mean, you guys know this stuff. They are culpable. They are responsible. All of this is their fault. And so, after just watching what we discovered about Weinstein, what we discovered about Polanski, what we discovered about Woody Allen, and so many more. Somebody earlier had said, what about Judy Garland? What about all of these, Shirley Temple, all of these actors and actresses, child actors, that were completely thrown out of the bus.
Look what happened to, especially Disney characters.
Lindsay Lohan.
Shia LaBeouf.
Right.
Katy Perry was a Disney chick.
Macaulay Culkin, not from Disney, but just a child actor. They all went crazy. They all went down the tubes. Hollywood chews you up and spits you out when you're no longer useful. They don't care about you. It is a spirit of death. It is a spirit of murder. Okay.
Now, at the same time, I would like to say that telling stories, and this is kind of the redeeming quality. I got the anointing on me when I was talking about this, so Michelle. People have told stories since the beginning of time. Genesis is a storytelling. Moses wrote down stories. Mm-hmm. Stories are designed. I get goosebumps every time I think about this. Stories like Jesus' parables are designed. Even the Homer's Iliad or Beowulf are to, even if it's kind of. It's always good overcoming evil or showing something that showing us a moral tale, okay? Whether there are characters like David who fall, mm-hmm. There's a moral tale to things that we can learn, something good that we can take away. Right? It should actually stories should bring out the better in us.
Exactly.
To make us want to be better.
Right.
Even if we show something horrible, like in Schindler's List, stories should be designed, if it's about something bad.
Right.
It should be to bring that person justice.
Exactly.
To bring their story to the light. If somebody was raped or molested,
right.
We shouldn't glorify it.
Right.
We should tell true stories so that people can do something about it in the end.
Right.
But the best part of the stories are to uplift the spirit.
Right.
And you should leave thinking, I could do this better. This can change. I'm happy. This is
right.
good. This is wholesome. Making you a better person. In Hollywood, because they did have ministers looking at, and they did have some stories that taught us where the red fern grows and even weird things.
Yeah,
like,
but that nobody likes that movie.
You know what I mean? These
I know
are
what you
movies that actually teach a moral.
Sort of.
They do.
I'm just stuck on the where the red fern grows. You cry your eyes out. Don't watch that movie. It's stupid. But I wanted to get to a point with that, what I was saying with the MGM thing, because my mom had pointed this out and I thought it was fantastic. The punchline of that is, these people are capable of doing such atrocities. Is it really that far-fetched to think that they could be complicit?
Absolutely not.
In what happened in Las Vegas?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No. They have done a cover-up. The hotels all knew what happened. Listen, this is a massive, massive cover-up. And so it really does all tie together, which is why they threw
Did you want to say
Harvey Weinstein under the bus. Yeah, so let me see. Yeah, okay. So Worth a Look says that he saw Eminem live in 2001 and he came out with a chainsaw, because that's always awesome. And then we were talking about different child actors. Somebody mentioned Amanda Baines. Drew Barrymore, did she ever go crazy? She actually did kind of go crazy for a while. She got into drugs. She went on to Playboy and did a centerfold there, a whole cover. Let's see. Leah is scaring me wanting to see these movies. Maya says suicide rates are higher for the child actors, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah, Mom?
Oh, MGM owns several hotels and casinos. And they're a part of it.
Yeah.
They could do this to our minds all the time by making scary horror movies and give us actors who are so perverted that we actually watch them.
Even the newest movie, It, I just have to, I should let you know that Stephen King, in his book, writes a child molestation, not child molestation, but a basic, if you put it on screen, it would have been child pornography.
I was around in the 70s, and I remember a light bulb went off by a lot of actors. We're changing society.
Right.
We're doing something to society, and they realized what they did.
The power that they held.
They started doing it for evil.
Right.
These guys here, and we'll take some, while this plays, we'll take a few more comments. Lecrae and Tripoli.
Tadashi, Derek Mine. Andy Mineo, Sho Baraka. These are all rappers that I listen to from the Christian realm.
You used to listen to. We don't really
have time to listen to any kind of other music. And Lecrae sold out. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. But here's the thing. They did a Man Up series of songs where they were like, you know what? We have a voice, and men need to rise up and start being men. Okay. So I don't know if there's one with the lyrics or not.
I don't know.
But anyway, so they did a whole Man Up thing and an album. It's really worth listening to. I love this album. So we're going to play the Man Up song. Go ahead and just play the one with the...
It's really hard. Rap is really hard to get the words.
Okay, you're right.
You know?
Obama in me, the hood won't pop, hip-hop won't see the common in me. And since it's a senseless contradiction, I end up a misfit trying to fit in. This ends when I stand up and see the hands of the standard, holy as the lamb. Now we holding you to man up,
cause we were made in his image. Stop looking at what you came from. Right after Adam, every atom in our atom, every atom, what Adonai is against. Let me take you back to the tree. You never read it, you see it, he was deceived, but Adam is the one who let it eat it. Basically little boys with muscles and a mustache. The femininity, we need a remedy. Godhead, 100% masculinity.
We the last.
Where the man at? Seems like they all lost. None of them are on the scene. Seem like they died off. Makes keep, but my dream is to rise up. We chasing the prize, little king, the divine boss. But we cut away, now we uncanny. We lose and we really get the blues like Navy. I want to celebrate the views that's beside me. Fellas, let's elevate the groove with the lobby. Boy, get your shine on. And if it's like they try to walk it, get your 9 home.
That's what I heard you gotta do to be a man. Now I did a bunch of stuff, so I took it in my hands now. And that's the problem, man. We've been trying to solve it all
You think that you're a man because you're feeling yourself. You need a man up.
Yeah, there's many things men is chasing after. They got some questions.
We got some answers.
Sex and models and tipping bottles, back a pile of excuses right next to your bottle caps. A Rolodex filled with names that you aim to please. Next to the stack of money, building up a heart of greed. Ice on his neck, giving jokers the cold shoulder. You drunk off pride, plus you loving the hangover. You got a whole lot of stuff that won't amount to gain. Life will never make sense because you never made dreams. We got it twisted, sick like a fever.
Little men live, stacked like the ether. Man up, gotta get up out of this treehouse. Leave cookies alone, it's time to eat meat now.
Trying to show you a new way to live now. No charge, you call it a freestyle. Without Christ, a normal man is transform a man's body like Tom Hanks and Big.
I like this next part. Being a man got nothing to do with age. You can be a boy till the day you lay in your grave. None of us behave like the image of who we're made. Because we fall in our ways, it's better known as depraved.
Running from responsibility, really we crave the easy way out of places that cause us to pull our weight. Very born through everyday decisions are made. Responding to the call God's given them from the
Yeah, let the process begin. Separate the boys from the men. Man up, it don't matter how you started. We're all just about how you end. Man up, Jesus is the motto. Follow him, we're gonna follow him. Be the last of the dying breed. It's time that we man up. So we went to Teen Challenge with the young guys there, and this was a song that they absolutely loved, something that they could grab a hold of, because when you live in a society where you've got all of these feminists putting men down, shoving the manly roles to the side, you end up with the thugs that want to feel manly but don't have an outlet, anywhere to go. But then they're told through the word of God, oh my gosh, I'm made in the image of Christ. When I get married someday, I'm supposed to be Jesus to my wife. All right? And so you have these guys encouraging these young men to be manly, to set an example, not only for other young men, but for all of society.
And as Paul Joseph Watson calls it, it's the true counterculture.
Yeah.
To be like, no, I'm not going to be the thug. I'm not going to be the guy who's dancing around with hoes and rhymes with witches and stuff like that. I am going to be stronger than that. Exactly. I am going to be better than that. And that empowers you. It's a different kind of empowerment. Right. It's an empowerment that heals. Anyone can break.
Right.
Very few can build up and heal families. So when we see the death that is Hollywood, we see the life that is in Jesus Christ, which is why we encourage people to become Christians. Yeah. Because these, whether they fall, they're trying. Yeah. They're trying. I've seen many of these young men, and they try and they fall. Right. But they're trying to be better. And as long as you're going in one direction, you're not going in the other direction. These guys, and I know them and I meet them, they've come out of drugs, they've come out of horrible lifestyles, and their goal, whether they make it or not, is to be a man, to take care of his family, and to love them, and to be faithful. Right. That is what strengthens them. Right. That is what gives them drive. That is what gives them purpose. Exactly. And the other, everybody else is, it's drinking, and it's guns, and it's gangs, and it's death. But Jesus says, I have come to bring you life, and life more abundantly. And so why Hollywood laughs at Christians, and Woody Allen, the child molester, makes entire movies against Christians. Right. We laugh in their face, and we say, you are going down because people want more. They're tired of the Pinocchio and the little children running around eating sweets for dinner. They want meat now. They don't want to live on cookies anymore. Right? People want more. They want substance. And we're done with Hollywood, and we're done with the mainstream media. And I get excited every single day when something like this comes out with Weinstein or things like that, because that means that everything is changing. We're winning. Why? Because people want real answers for life. Marcuse doesn't make it. There's nothing to be found in Marxism. There's nothing to be found in your soul in socialism. They ruin the arts. They ruin beauty. They ruin buildings. They ruin love. They ruin arguments. architecture. They ruin technology. They ruin everything. They ruin food. They ruin love. They ruin relationships with children. They ruin everything. And we can defeat them in the power of God and the blood of Jesus and real love. They say that lust is love. And we know, as Michelle was saying, people get bored in these relationships in Hollywood, and that's why they go on from the one to the next to the next.
Yeah.
But we want to show people that constancy and love and commitment and strength makes you strong inside so that you're 95 years old and you can still run marathons. That's the kind of strength that you get when you follow the Word of God, when you love Jesus.
Yes.
And that's what we can turn this around, and we bring the evil of Hollywood to the forefront to let people know we can't just blindly go on. I'm not going to see the stupid Kate Winslet movie. I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
Okay? And I'm not going to give them my money because I know what they represent. It's kind of like, once I know, then I can't. If I don't know.
There's a scriptural reference, though, for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as eating the unclean things or the food sacrificed to
If
idol.
you know it's been offered to idols. If I know she likes Woody Allen and Roman Polanski, I can't do it.
Right.
Just don't tell me, man.
You can't support it. So I want to go back before we sign off, because we're getting ready to do that any second, to what Paul Watson was calling out Eminem. You're not counterculture anymore.
Right.
Okay, so Lecrae, he actually has a song, and at the very end, it's called Rebel. It's worth listening to if you guys want to go look it up. And at the end, it always says, you're just a conformist. If you're drunk and naked, driving around on a loud motorcycle, smoking cigarettes and breaking commandments, getting pregnant out of wedlock, everyone has done that. It's so tiring. If you really want to be a rebel, read your Bible, because no one is doing it. That's rebellion. That's the only rebellion left. Right. If you want to be counterculture, you have to go against all of this muck. The vileness that we see not only in Hollywood, but on the mainstream media, in our politicians with pedo, gate and whatever you want to call it. It's everywhere, and it's an agenda that they put forward. It's all part of depopulation, globalization, the sexualization of the entire world is their ultimate goal, and sexual perversion.
Because here's the thing: if you can get people to just lose their inhibitions, then they won't think straight.
Right.
We are made as creatures to live in a place of things that are healthy. When you see obesity, the rise of obesity and the rise of sexual perversion go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see a person who sleeps around with a bunch of people, I just see a 500-pound man.
Right.
So they're not attracted to me no matter how cool they seem to be. That's like a 500-pound dude.
Right. Meaning somebody that doesn't have self-control. It shouldn't just be how somebody looks that is unattractive to you. It's if you're obese, then it kind of represents that there is a sickness there in that person's life.
Right.
No matter what that is.
Right.
So, thank you guys for sticking with us for a very, very, very long time. I'm not sure if our first segment is going to be on the front. I might just go and cut it off once the video processes. Patriot Gallery.
I just want to say that, this all has to do with Las Vegas.
Yep.
Las Vegas is MGM.
Well, there's
resorts,
Sin
gambling,
City.
Casinos. They actually had machine gun place in Las Vegas.
Where you can fire a machine gun.
So those machine guns are in Las Vegas. So
Right.
anybody in Las Vegas could have got into machine guns there, because they have a rifle range where men can shoot machine guns there.
Right.
Right.
But when we look at, they're lying about this, or this is a false flag, or whatever.
A distraction.
It comes down to the CIA and MGM, which is acting and rap and everything, all your entertainment industry. And they're going to try and say this was an Islamic terrorist, just like 9/11 was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was CIA and media pulling a con on us all. They're pretending it's an act. People do die. But that's just it. It's not enough to pretend to kill people in movies. They got to really kill them now.
It's
timeline.
Like
to get off.
Oh man, come back tomorrow.
We got it.
I wish we could give you a time specifically. Can we give them a set time for
No,
tomorrow? No,
sorry.
we can't. Our days are just so weird. Sorry guys, we cannot give you a set time.
I was talking about the timeline for the thing keeps changing.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant for tomorrow. But yeah, we have a lot to bring you. There is so much news, just news in general, on top of the new Las Vegas.
We'll bring you Las
latest.
Vegas updates and the Project Veritas bombshell tomorrow. Those are the top two things that really have to be
we have so many people that have stayed up across the pond, overseas. It's late there, I know. It's
early there.
7:02 in Scotland, 7 a.m. I know in
Good
England,
morning
8
to
a.m.
you.
in Poland.
Chipper morning to all of you.
I can't believe you all stayed up for this.
No,
You're
they woke
our
up early.
die-hard fans.
This is the
support.
This
I
was
want to call you the
morning
support.
for them.
Hello.
They woke up in the morning.
Don't you know it's time for a cup of
It's a
tea?
lovely cup of tea morning. Yes. I was thinking people from the East Coast might even be here because it's 11 there. Right?
Yeah.
They're just getting to bed. So I'm sorry, people in Middle America.
Listen, we had, for those of you that don't know, we had technical difficulties. We were supposed to come to you at 8:30, or actually it was like 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
We have our new computer, we have our new setup, but
it had no sound.
It had no sound. So.
Yeah, and we had all of the links lined up and everything. So what we decided to do was we needed to upgrade this thing to Windows 10. We thought, oh, we'll do that real fast.
No.
You never update to Windows 10 real fast.
But that's okay. We turned a bunch of steak into hamburger while we were waiting. Because we're homesteaders and we...
No, literally. We just bought a new meat grinder. And we decided to grind up a bunch of roasts into hamburger. We did do that.
Dead bodies.
2 a.m. Yeah, it's dead bodies. Yeah. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Share this on your social media pages. This is one that we do want to get out because
absolutely
they can't be allowed to cover up what they're doing any longer. It has to be spread to the limelight. One of the things that you didn't mention was the fact that movies are down right now. They've been down for the past 2 years. And I see that as a very good thing. The NFL is down. Movies are down.
The Oscars, even the shows were down. Everything is down. It's really exciting.
I don't think that people are stopping watching things. I think they're doing things like watching
Resistance Chicks. They're watching YouTube. They're learning. Yep. They're using the internet against people, and it's beautiful to see.
One of our dearest friends the other day was saying how, possibly the viewers that we have don't have a life if they're actually watching us. Now, she's a friend. We can take it with a grain of salt. She was just saying that YouTube viewers that are watching all this stuff. And I said, well, you know what? They could be watching Dancing with the Stars like you are. Or, not Leah, our friend. Or they could be watching us and actually learning something. All right. And I think that a lot of people that really have a desire for the truth, a desire to make a change, to actually change our society and stop things from Las Vegas from happening, a false flag that it was. It wasn't just some psycho guy. All right. You can't stop that. But the false flag, stop that kind of thing from happening. You guys are here to do that. You're missing out on Dancing with the Stars. Okay. And all your TV shows and your movies because you have work to do. And that's what this is. We all come together as a community of truthers to get this work done.
And I gotta tell you, this Las Vegas thing, this one's hard. This is a hard one.
Let's not let this one go, guys.
No, we have to throw out all your conspiracy theories. Unfortunately, Mom came to us with one last night, and everyone got trolled. I checked it out right away. It was
false. Tell them what it is. Just so they know. If they learned it, they can know it's not true.
The FBI, Aaron Roos. The FBI on the Las
stupid
Vegas case.
Slinking guy that keeps standing behind Lombardo.
Everybody was saying that he was the son-in-law of John Podesta because John Podesta has a daughter whose last name is Roos. But it's not true. She's married to a Gordon Roos and they're not related. But it went all over the internet last night.
Everybody was sharing it. So we have to, weed out the facts from the false, but, we can do it.
Yep. All right. Good night, guys.
It's not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth.
Yep.
And, we'll cover everything else later. We'll see you guys tomorrow because we love you. And thank you for being with us. Thank you for all of our moderators. Sooks, Worth a Look. John Petter was here earlier. Gary, I'm probably missing somebody else. I don't know.
Good night. I'm going to fall asleep right here now.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.